Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to Stacia. So since the last episode, I have just been adding quite a bit of automation and storage and stuff like that. So we now have an energized smelter, a precision sawmill. I got this area over here plugged up. I'm going to be setting up automatic liquid starlight, but we do have another fluid encapsulator here that can craft our resonating gems. I went through and added augments to things, so resonant integral components and flux linkage amplifiers just to speed everything up. This material stonework factory is plugged up. This one's plugged up. Right now it's just trim ran through, but that'll be changing to drawers and other setups. Lava's coming down through here. Starlight will come in through there. This is our asphalt setup that's plugged up. These two are going to get plugged up soon. I'm still using the one inscriber that's down there. I need to make more inscribers here soon. And of course it starts raining. Let me go sleep real quick. Also, all of this down here is now plugged up to storage, so we have access to all of these materials from storage and a number of different things. I am going to go ahead and order another 10 of these. My big limiting factor right now is steel, so I've got to get that set up for probably faster automation. I think the blast furnace is okay, but we really need to speed that up a bit. Also, while I'm thinking about it, because I didn't have enough earlier, there we go, because I was out of resonating gems, and that's what sent me on the path to setting all that up. Now today what we're going to be doing is we're going to start into environmental tech. And right here I've got 44 litherite crystals. I know we had some, I think 20-ish, so I probably made a bit overkill on that, but they're so cheap that I just went ahead and whipped up 44. And we're going to be making the litherite void miner tier 1. This right here, and I'm missing laser diode. Yeah, these, I'm going to go ahead and get... let's just go with a full stack of these for now. And we're going to get our 2 structure panels. We're going to make some more of those here in a minute. And then our laser core. There we go. There's our litherite void miner tier 1. Okay, quest complete. What do the quests look like for this? Okay, yeah. And we've already got the assembler, of course, RGB controller, memory programmer. We're going to be making that stuff. Actually, yeah, let's go ahead and make the memory programmer next. We're going to need a couple volatile memories. And we are going to need a CPU. That. Structure panel. There we go. There's our memory programmer. And I'm also going to want a flash memory, volatile memory, and flash memory. So there's that. And then in addition, I'm going to need all the stuff listed here. So I'm going to need 18 panels. And how many structure frames? So we're going to be going with probably just the regular structure panel. We can do the clear ones, but I'd rather just have solid ones. And it was 18 that we're going to need. So I'm going to have to make more of these obsidian plates. That is fine. Let's go ahead and get, well, let's go ahead and get 2 more stacks of these. Whoops, I made 24. That's fine. That's okay. Then we're also going to need IO blocks or frames. Now these are the IO blocks. We're going to be going with an FE input. This is going to be made in the assembler. Okay. We'll hold off on that in just a minute, but we're going to go with that. We're going to go with item output. Just those 2. And then the frames, we need 20 plus the extra 2 for that. So we're going to be going with 22 of the litherite structure frames. So let's go ahead, get a bit more of these. And we're going to need the litherite interconnects as well. Redstone imbued, obsidian plate. Okay, let me go ahead and get some more of these. Some litherite, and for the FE input it was, yeah, this is the basic one. We're going to need litherite interconnect, block of redstone, structure panel, a couple pieces of iron, and then for the item output, okay, the item output is actually pretty straightforward. We'll go ahead and grab that. So our assembler is over here. We made a few episodes back. Let's go ahead and grab that. This is going to require power, of course. So we'll set it up for right now. Here is fine. We're going to go ahead and get ourselves a few of these. I'm actually going to need more than that, I think. But that does not seem to speed it up. And you'll notice a number of different FE inputs. These are for different material types. Like once we rank up to some of these higher tier ones, we'll be able to make some of those. Okay, so there's 16 of those. We'll go ahead and convert those into our litherite interconnects. I'm actually going to start with just one for just a moment here. There we go. And for the FE input, it is the structure panel, the redstone, the iron, and the litherite interconnect. So there's that. Okay, now we needed 22 frames. And frames are just like that. So we are going to need a total of 22 of these litherite interconnects. So we'll go ahead and get those running. And we're also going to need a couple modifiers. Those are pretty straightforward to make. Okay, so we'll get those running, get our 22 litherite interconnects. Now, while that's running, let's pop down. We're going to make a couple other things here. We are going to make, if we take a look here, we're going to need 2 laser cores. So let's get 2 of these. There we go. We're also going to need a laser lens holder, which takes 2. So let's get 2 more of these. And then we are going to need 2 modifiers. So we're going to be going with the null modifiers for now. And then we just need the 22 frames. Then we can get our 22 litherite structure frames. And it was 18 panels, so we'll have 2 left over. That's fine. So let's go ahead, let's grab that. There we go. Quest completed, and at this point we've completed most of these things except for the RGB controller, which we'll get into that later. Not right this second. Because that's not really all that important for us. That's just for looks, and we'll be changing this up a bit. Okay. So now what we're going to do, let's take our memory programmer. There's a couple other things we got to do real quick before we set this up. Our memory programmer we'll just put in right there for now. So if we take a look in here, you can see there's a bunch of different options here. There's ore miners, botanic miners, resource miners. These are all the same as they were, kind of the same general gist, but we're going to get more into that in just a moment. But these are still kind of the same way. These mine ores, these mine plants, these mine resources like cobblestone, stone. It's also where you're going to get mica for that. Multi-miners do a combination of these things. Now, if you click on these, you can see there's a mineral ore miner, a metallic ore miner, a gemstone ore miner, and a magical ore miner. So there's 4 different miners here. If you take a look at botanic, there's garden, forestry, flowery. And then if you take a look at resource, there's rocky, frozen, or loose. And then if you take a look at multi-miners, there's the crystal miner, the ore miner, the resource miner, the multi-miner, and the botanic miner. Now, what I want at the moment, I believe, is probably, I mean, long term, we're going to have a lot of these different things. But I think for right now, what I would like to do is, I think I'd like to bypass the botanical mining altogether because we do have the sylph that kind of handles everything. But I think for right now, we're going to go with the crystal miner. We're going to focus on just getting the crystal gemstones to basically push progression within the mod, and then we can expand out as we get litherite automatically coming in, and as we get the higher tier materials automatically coming in, and as we get automation for these things. So we're going to take that. And then what we're going to do is, I've got a single chunk loader. We're going to take a look at our solar panels and see where those are. We do have the 40 that we need. So at this point, to get a tier, these are tier 3s. Now to get a tier 4, most of the stuff is pretty straightforward. Actually, yeah, we've got all of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 10 of the tier 4s. So we'll go ahead and just order that. It should be able to craft those decently quick anyways. Oh yeah, and it's, actually let me get 10 more, in fact. Oh, I need more basic coils. That's fine. I've already got those. Had those running down here and just forgot about it. Oh, these noisy backpacks. Just go ahead and toss that in there. Let me get 10 more of these. I forget they craft 2 at a time. Okay, so now for the tier 5. All of this is pretty straightforward, but we are going to need advanced coils. So we're going to need the redstone flux coils, and then we are also going to need photovoltaic cell 3s, which require the blood altar. So let me go ahead and order 15 of the photovoltaic cell 2s. I'm actually going to need a few more of these here shortly. And then let me go ahead and get 5 of the redstone flux coils. Okay, get more steel. Okay, and right now I'm waiting on some CPUs to free up. Well, I guess while this stuff is running, it's not the fastest. I haven't put speed upgrades into all of this yet. But while that's running, I guess we can pop on over to the end. I think that's where we're going to be setting this up today. Because within the new environmental tech, if we take a look here, there's certain resources like nanorite. Nanorite can only be mined while it's in the end. I think that's the big one, is just nanorite. And then also mica. I think the rest of these are pretty much open as to where you mine them. But mica, which of course we're not going to be mining that with the crystal miner, but this needs to be in the end or the nether to get that. So we're going to be setting this up in the end. So we'll go ahead, we'll pop up. There's actually one set up over there. We're going to set up ours just right over here. Should be fine. Let's see. This is not claimed at the moment. So we'll say that this will be our chunk that we're going to use. So we'll go ahead and just claim that. And let me go ahead and just flatten this just slightly. And just for fun, we're going to use one of the newer features within environmental tech. And we're going to do our void miner upside down. So we'll put it right there. Then we're going to take our flash memory that we made. We're going to put this right into here. We're going to click right up here at the auto utility, and we're going to click build multi-block. And so you can see it's just going to build that out. There we go. And everything is now placed except for right up here where the IOs can go. We're going to take and we're going to put in our litherite structure frames. Now if we wanted to, we could move these to other slots. That's not a problem. But we're going to leave them right there. And we're going to go ahead and take an ender chest. This is our gray. We're just going to put that right there on top of the item output. So it can feed directly into that ender chest. And then what we're going to do is, let's go ahead and pop back home. Okay, our solars are done. Let's go ahead and grab these photovoltaic cells. And let's order our 5 flux coils. Got to do a little bit of crafting for that. That's fine. And we're going to go ahead and just pop down. We're going to be automating this here pretty soon. I'm going to have to make a few more of these here in just a minute. And we'll let that run for a moment. And then let's pop up. I've got to get my magical stuff automated. It's all really, really easy. I just haven't done it yet. I haven't gotten around to it yet. Oh, by the way, this is back up and running. I meant to mention that. This is back up and running. You could see this was like just for my visual test. This has been running for a while without issue. I did change this over to spirited energy cables. Have had no issues whatsoever. It's been running for, I don't know, maybe a day. And, yeah. We's all good. You could see it kicking on and off there as it needs to, as it needs power and stuff. And then if we pop over, you can see we have a stack and 2 polonium pellets now. So we're back in business with that. It just needed to basically cool down after the damage from the last go around with it. Okay, let's pop down here. These are probably done. They are. We're going to go ahead and grab those out. Now we have photovoltaic cell 3s. Pretty much anything regarding the altar, it's all really, really easy. Because we have plenty of blood that it's really not an issue. But hopefully, maybe next episode, we're going to get down in the basement and do some work. Because we need to automate blood magic. We need to automate Botania. All really, really simple stuff. But we do need to get that done pretty quick. Get that magic stuff automated. It's easy to craft in bulk with Botania and Blood Altar, so it hasn't been a big concern. But just for automation purposes, as I start moving forward with solar panels, it'll just make my life a lot easier. Okay, so we're going to be ordering ourselves 10 of these. No, we're not, because I haven't put those in there. Okay, 10 solar panel 5s. Here we go. Now we're starting to move into the solar panels that actually have pretty good power generation. We're starting to head into that. Okay, it's making the enriched gold at the moment. That's all fine and well. And then we're going to be turning these into 2 solar panel 6s, and then we'll have 2 left over. That's fine. And to get the solar panel 6s, we're going to need photovoltaic cells. We'll be making 4. I keep forgetting that they double out. The elite coils are just reinforced alloy. I've already made those. Enriched diamond, we've got photovoltaic cell 4s. We're going to have to do that with starlight infusion, or we can do it with the fluid encapsulator, which we have now moved on to. So I am going to need 6 of the photovoltaic cell 2s. We're going to have to upgrade these out. That's fine. There's our 10 solar panel 5s. I'm going to take 2 of these for now. And we got a quest completed. You know what's funny? I don't even think that I have completed the quest for solar panel 4 because I didn't take them out. So now I haven't actually held any in my hand. Okay, and these solar panel 5s, these do have 512 FE per tick generation. We're just going to pop out and just put these over here for now. This is going to boost our power generation over here by quite a bit. So we're going to quickly find ourselves not using the polonium all that often, or making the polonium as often as we expand upon this. And then let's take these, and we'll just drop those in. And we're going to get our new solar panels. There we go. And, oh, I did also refine all of this automation, so we've got energized smelters now instead of those obsidian ones, so that way they push a bit more intelligently, as well as if we pop down in here, you could see there's storage bus, everything here is plugged up, and we have 3 pipes mods, and that is doing the aquamarine shell and the sand. And you can see I do have a destination set to which energized smelter it sends the various different things to. So that is in place. All right, so our photovoltaic cell 3s, let's just pop up. We're going to drop these into, I think, yeah, I think we've got enough. Yeah, just barely. I've got to get that automated. Just plain and simple, I've got to get that automated. But there's our photovoltaic cell 4s. And then what we can do now is drop these in, and we can order ourselves 4 of the solar panel 6s. Okay. Which means we're really not far from getting the ones that are 32,000. I think for this, that's super easy. That is super easy. I can just include that into the automation that I've already got. We need Dragon's Breath. We need Gaia Spirit Ingots. We do have to start fighting the Gaia soon. So that's no biggie. And then here we are going to need Dragon Eggs. Not really a big deal. And photovoltaic cell 6s. 2 of those makes a photovoltaic cell 6. Okay, that's not that bad, really. So, and then I think for the ultimate solar panel, we need 8 of the 8s and an ultimate solar core, which is kind of a little upgraded thing, not being all that expensive. This is all basic stuff. It's really just these right here, and then we get into the ones that produce a whopping 262,144 FE per tick. So big power generation there. Okay, but there is our solar panel 6s, producing 2048 FE per tick. And with these, I'm going to take, for right now at least, I'm going to take 3 of these. And I'm going to drop these monstrosities. This is actually going to be a lot of power for us. I need to upgrade this. Because I'm betting you, we're probably not even going to be sending everything that we're going to be making. This maybe. Because these are only 1,000 FE per tick. But I think the basic, let's see. I think it's pretty low, right? Yeah, 2.5k FE per tick. So I'm probably pretty close to my maximum input at the moment. And so I need to upgrade this like right now. So let me just order an Ender Core. And we'll get that done. By the way, we don't have many of these right now because we've got to set up Wither automation. We're going to be doing that soon with Woot. But you can see we do have our very first Nitro Energizing Rod. So it does speed up crafting over here by a bit. It's kind of like a big achievement at this point, but soon we're going to need a bunch of those. So we'll be making a bunch of those. Alright, so there's our Ender Sail. Let's go ahead. Yeah, I'll tell you what. Let's grab that. Put in that. Of course, these are... I don't remember the actual IO for this. 100,000. Nitro will be a little bit better. And soon we're going to have to start splitting these off. As we start moving into bigger solar panels, we won't be able to run this entire bay into one sail. But for right now, we can still run it into a single sail. So, there we go. So these are producing quite a bit more. And if we take a look here, we'll see our power is now kind of jumping up pretty fast. We're probably not going to be making much in the way of polonium pellets at this point. So. Okay, so now what we're going to do, now that we've got that in place, new solar panels, more power. I mean, that was like almost 10,000 power that we just plugged up right there. Let's pop over. By the way, this food is lasting a while. You can see we're only at 95%. I have not filled this back up. We're barely using any nutritional paste. So right here, what we're going to do, if we take a look down here, you can see our tick cost is 1,800. That's 1,800 FE per tick to run this void miner. So a little bit of power, but not a lot realistically. We're going to go ahead. A basic Ender Cell can handle this, so we'll just plug that up. And then we're going to say extract energy from all sides. So this is now running. And if we give this a little bit, we will start getting some ores. You can see that the beam is actually shooting up into the sky. So we'll go ahead, we'll take our chunk loader, put it right there. And I think these take a little while to act, with it being a tier 1, I think it takes a little while to generate. What do we need for... I mean, since it's on a server, that's a good thing, because this is going to take a massive amount of time. I think before we get the resources, the Erodium to actually push to the next tier. But as far as for the modifiers for, let's see, frequency, probably be the one that I want. We can do it with a litherite interconnect. No, we need lawns to light. Okay. And let's see, what do we need for, like, bandwidth would be nice. I don't think we can pull off bandwidth. That's going to give us more, yeah, beam width addition. And it's going to allow us to mine more at once, but we can't afford it at the moment. So hopefully we'll pull it up. Unfortunately, you can't use JEI. I think Lawns Delight can come from most tiers with the crystal miner, but I could be mistaken. There's an Erodium crystal. Okay. Let me actually, for right now, let me pull this up. Let me set down a chest so you can kind of get an idea of what all is going to come from it. But we do have some Erodium crystal, which is quite nice. I'm actually really glad for that. And we got a quest completed there. Now, to get our next tier, we're going to need a lot of this. Like, a substantial amount of this. But luckily, these are actually super cheap to make. You know, this one takes that one. This one takes that one. And it's just basically a block of diamond, which is super cheap, and a laser core, which is super cheap. We'll also have to upgrade our structure frames, and it will add some structure frames, but not a massive amount over time, because, of course, we can keep tearing it down and replacing. You can see we actually lose 2 panels when we upgrade to this one, but we do jump up like 8 frames. for that one as well. But as you can see, this thing, it mines excessively slow. Excessively slow. So I'm going to basically AFK for a bit, let this thing run, and we'll come back in a bit and see what all we've got. Okay, this has been running for about a day. I've been super busy with real life stuff this week, so I haven't had a ton of time, so I was like, well, I'll just let it run overnight, because I've been landscaping for like 7 hours a day, and so by the time I get in, I'm like so exhausted, you know. So I just kind of piddle around on here and stuff, but this has been running for about a day. You can see we've gotten almost 3 stacks of Erodium. We got a bunch of Litherite. Like I said, there's this stuff, we're going to have a ton of this very, very quickly. Now what we're going to do, I'm going to dump this in here. We've already got Litherite slotted, so it should go away. And we did get some Lonstalite as well, so we're going to be making use of that. Let me go ahead now, and I did prep up some things because we're going to be going ahead and pushing for the tier 2. And then probably this weekend, I'll have a bit more time, I think, this weekend. Let's go ahead and pull out our flash memory. And we're going to go here to Auto Utility, and we're going to say Break Multi-Block. We're going to click that. And we give it a second. Okay. Well, let me just do that then. That's fine. It doesn't really... Oh, I think it's starting to break now. Yeah, it was starting to break now. Unless Vein Mine affects all blocks like it does with the E2. I'm not for sure about that. But we'll just leave all this here for right now. And we'll go ahead and pull up the Cinder Cell because we're not going to need that either. And yeah, let's go ahead. Pop on home. This is not running like at all. You can see we are sitting at a power of 14. This is staying pretty well capped with solar panels. Though we're about to start draining a little bit more power with what we're about to do. Let me go ahead now. Our Litherite's up there. Let me go ahead and slot in our Erodium, which I've got enough here for all 8 tiers. And let's go ahead and slot in our Lonstalite as well. Okay, so we've got 176 Erodium and 31 Lonstalite. That's good. And, oh, and let me see if these are done. They should be. Yes, we have 64 redstone imbued obsidian plates. And we are going to be making ourselves, to get our structure frame tier 2s, because we're going to need 28 plus an additional 2, so a total of 30 of these. And I think I've got, well, for some reason these won't go together, but we're going to be going with 30 of these nanorite interconnects, because to make this we're going to need, I'm sorry, Erodium interconnects. This right here. So let's go ahead, drop that in. Oh yeah, and I need the Erodium, that would help. So we're going to need 60 for that. I think altogether we're looking at a stack and, I don't know, around a stack and 10 or something. It's not a ton, but it does take a while, especially with the tier 1. Now, as we rank up, it's going to get faster and faster and faster, and so then it won't be a long time for these tiers. And I've got 2 more null modifiers. Okay. So what we're going to do, let's go ahead and make our Erodium tier 2. We're going to drop that in there. There we go. That's going to give us a quest complete. And then we're going to need the 30 tier 2 frames that we're getting. We're going to need 4 IO blocks, and these are going to have to be upgraded. Now, the item output, it doesn't really upgrade, as you can tell. This one is just whatever tier, but we will need to upgrade the FE input, because right now it is only a Litherite tier. It can only do 1024, and if you recall, to actually run our multi-block, it was 1800, so we weren't even running it at full capacity with only 1 FE input. You can make 2 FE inputs, an input from 2 different spots, and then you'd have the 1800, but it's not really a big deal. Now, to upgrade this, we're going to be pushing on to the Erodium one. So iron, redstone, I actually got that. I just need another one of these. Now, structure panels, they actually go down by 2. I did make an additional laser core. It's weird because the stuff does not stack after it's been in the world. It's interesting. And we're also going to take a look at modifiers at this point, because we can now push into some modifiers. It's not going to be anything too fancy. And as far as modifiers for the miners, there's 3 major ones that we'll want to look at. First up is the Amplification Modifier, which this one, it's not really going to come into play until we start moving into lenses. I don't even know if we can actually craft this at the moment, because this one we would need an Amplification Modifier. There is one for a... Oh, that one takes an Amplification Modifier. Okay. Where can we make the first one that doesn't take an amplification? Right here. Oh, yeah, we can do one with litherite. But this would only come into play if we were using a lens. But we'll get into lenses later, the lens grinder and stuff. Lenses aren't, in my opinion, they're really not important whatsoever when you're doing the crystal miner, because you just kind of want all of it. They become a little bit more important when you're using like the ore miner or the botanical miner or something like that. So we're not going to be using those. There's also the bandwidth modifier, which I talked briefly about. Basically, the more of these you have, the wider your radius is, so the more blocks you mine every operation. And then you have the frequency module with a modifier, which is your speed. It just increases speed. And that's what we're going to be making here, which is going to take null modifier, Lonsdaleite, and litherite interconnects, and then a couple redstone to get this one here, which will increase our multiplier by 0.2. So if we do 4 of these, it's going to be 0.8. So as you can see, you kind of have to run it for just a little bit before you start moving into modifiers to get that Lonsdaleite. Since it does come from a tier 1, I was thinking it came from like most of them. So that's good. Go ahead, set this out. And then we needed this, that, and our old FE input. Now it is worth noting when it comes to setting up later tiers, it's kind of why we're pushing through the crystal miner first, and then we'll set up additional miners, because when we make the FE inputs and the upgraded modifiers and stuff like that, you don't have to tier these up. Any FE input will work for any tier. So if we want to make a tier 8, all we have to do is make a basic one and then just upgrade it to the tier 8. You don't have to tier these up specifically. So it's kind of easy to kind of jump around once you have your crystal miner ranked up. And the same is true for the modifiers. And then we're going to get our tier 2 structure frames. Throw that in. Oh, that one's one of the ones that goes here. That. Oh, and then we have different... Okay. This is actually a really easy quest line because it just basically just get through the crystals. But bear in mind, a lot of these upgrades also are going to take mica. Like, for example, bandwidth modifier. I think ranking up pretty much any of these, like if we take a look at the frequency module modifier, that's going to take mica for any of the upgrades. And for that, we're going to have to get a resource miner. So we may not push for those too much right now. We'll see. It kind of just depends on when we want to... once we get a resource miner set up, then we can start actually pushing for the higher tier modifiers and stuff. But I will say these get pretty fast even without upgrades as we start ranking these up. I think these are just going to be used to make the various modifiers, and it has to be in the end or the nether for that. So we'll just be setting all of ours up probably in the end. At least resource and crystal. I think for the ore miner, I'll probably set that up at the base somewhere. So we'll have one set up. And if we decide to do like a botanical miner or something weird like that, then we will maybe set that up somewhere else as well. And we'll drop our void miner in. Just like before, we're going to click... Oops. We're going to drop that in. We're going to open this up. We're going to say build multi-block. And we'll let that run and build it out for us. There we go. And right up here, of course, once again, we are going to need to add the structure frames. Right there. There we go. You can see our tick cost right now is 3,147. So that's not too bad. All things considered, and our speed will be a lot faster now. This time I'm just going to use the ender chest for getting these items. Though, I might, for just a moment, let's do this. And that way we can kind of see the speed, because if it gives anything other than the tier 3, which will be Chironite. Yeah, Chironite. That's going to be our tier 3. If it gives anything but that, it's going to get slotted directly into drawers. So going through our indoor system. So there's one drop. And if we give it a second, we should see another drop. Now our FE input does, what was it, 8,000. So we should be good on actual power input. We should actually be running at maximum at this point because that is 8,192. You can see it's still not super fast, but it is a bit faster than it was. So, and our solar panels that we made, I'm going to be making some more of those, but the ones that we made are still going to be more power than we're consuming because we added like an extra 10,000 RF, passive RF. So honestly, we're at the point now where our diesel engines and our reactor probably isn't going to be running a ton. There's another rhodium, so you can kind of get an idea for the speed with the 4 frequency modifiers, and then the upgraded tier as well. So we'll just drop that in. But that's why I kind of wanted to get this done and set up pretty quick, because this is kind of a slow process to rank up to the max tier initially. But once you do rank up to the max tier, then you're pretty much just kind of coasting, just getting a lot of these, like the tier 8, the Zerothium. It's one of those mods where it takes a little while to get through the different tiers, but once you do, everything's pretty much open to you because you can just craft everything and max tier it very, very easily. Because these crystals, once we get up to max tier and high frequency and bandwidth, they come in like super fast. Like for the max tier, we can have 20 modifiers. So you're talking about a lot of frequency, a lot of amplification, a lot of bandwidth. Probably not amplification, because if you don't have a lens, it does nothing whatsoever. But we'll be using, probably in this one, a lot of frequency and bandwidth. So, but it will become a big power hog as well. So we'll have to keep scaling up those, both power storage and our solar panel setups. So, and that should be good. You can see we're not even touching our power at the moment. Yeah, so with that, I think we're going to wrap up this episode. Next episode, we will probably be doing, what I suspect that we'll be doing is going to be Blood Magic and Botania automation, kind of getting that basement coming together, and then probably the following episode tackling Woot. So it won't be long at this point before we start pushing into some of the endgame crafts, start looking towards those anyways, because we're really at a point, like if we look in the quest, you know, we've started, I think, all of this. We've done a lot of this stuff. And we're at a point, yeah, this is really the last step, and then we start kind of turning our attention towards this. So at this point, it's going to be a lot of just kind of automating in mass and speeding things up to points that we're going to need. And also starting to push into mystical agriculture and Woot. Those two things are going to help us a lot with endgame. A lot. And mystical agriculture is another thing that's going to be an expensive upfront cost, but after you get the upfront cost done, it's going to be real easy. That's kind of true throughout this entire pack, I think. But then we'll start turning our attention towards this. We also have to start Nature's Aura, which will be fine. We haven't had to yet because we didn't do refined storage yet, but it's a really, really fun mod. So we'll have a lot of fun with that. Super easy mod to kind of start up and move through. I think with it, because I looked at this within this pack and it's all pretty much default recipe. I've had a lot of fun with it in Tails. It's a lot different, but in this pack it's all pretty much default, so we can move to that pretty quick, and we'll get some rune automation and things in place. We'll also have to start looking at food and stuff, and yeah, setting up for some of this stuff. And doing these will be fun. I almost like going for like the creative vending first. Might be a good idea. We'll have to push into antimatter. Oh yeah, and we'll be starting Project A, but that's kind of where we stand on the pack. So we're getting close to starting endgame. Close to starting it. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already to stay updated with when new videos come out, and I hope to see you guys next time. So until then, as always, do take care, stay safe. I'll see you guys then.